In the dim glow of dawn filtering through rain-streaked windows, 10-year-old Ethan Harper sat cross-legged on his bedroom floor, surrounded by the faint outlines of unopened birthday cards from relatives scattered across the country. His heart ached with a quiet heaviness that no amount of colorful wrapping paper could lift, a feeling born from a single memory that had lodged itself deep within him like a splinter. Just weeks earlier, during a school field trip to the local community shelter in their small Ohio town, he had locked eyes with a boy about his age, huddled in a corner with nothing but a worn blanket and a distant stare. That boy's empty hands mirrored something Ethan couldn't name then, but now, on his own birthday, it whispered of wishes unfulfilled and joys withheld. Little did Ethan know that this ache would spark a chain of quiet miracles, turning his solitary longing into a wave of warmth that would touch lives far beyond his own, proving that one small heart could wrap the world in unexpected gifts. Ethan's family lived in a modest two-story house on Maple Street, where the scent of fresh, baked pancakes often mingled with the sounds of laughter echoing from the kitchen. His dad, David, worked long hours at the auto repair shop downtown, his hands perpetually stained with grease but his smile always ready for his kids. Mom, Lisa, balanced part-time nursing shifts at the hospital with raising Ethan and his younger sister, Mia, who at 7 years old idolized her brother like he was a superhero. Birthdays in the Harper home were sacred traditions, streamers dangling from ceilings, homemade cakes with lopsided frosting, and piles of gifts that spoke of love more than luxury. But this year, as Ethan blew out his candles the night before, his wish wasn't for the latest video game console or a new bike. It was something deeper, something that had been brewing since that shelter visit. The morning unfolded with the usual bustle. Mia bounced into the room, her pigtails swinging wildly. "Happy birthday, big brother," she exclaimed, thrusting a handmade card into his hands, its crayon-drawn stick figures depicting their family under a rainbow. Ethan forced a smile, hugging her tightly, but his mind wandered back to the shelter. He remembered the way the air there smelled of damp, concrete, and hurried meals, how the kids' eyes lit up briefly at the sight of volunteers handing out sandwiches, only to dim again when the moment passed. What if? He thought his birthday could change that for even one of them. As the family gathered around the breakfast table, laden with eggs, bacon, and a stack of gifts wrapped in shiny paper, Ethan set down his fork. "Mom, Dad," he began softly, his voice steady despite the butterflies in his stomach. "I don't want these presents for me. Can we use the money to buy gifts for the kids at the shelter instead?" The room fell silent, forks hovering mid-air. Lisa's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and concern etching her face. David leaned back in his chair, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. "Ethan, that's incredibly kind, but are you sure? We've saved up for things you really wanted." Mia tilted her head, puzzled. "But what about your robot toy?" Ethan nodded, his resolve hardening like clay in the sun. "I am sure. Seeing those kids, it made me realize how lucky I am. I have you guys, a home, everything. They might not even get a birthday wish. What if my wish could be theirs?" The words hung in the air, heavy with sincerity. Lisa reached across the table, squeezing his hand. Her own childhood had been marked by hardship, growing up in a family that relied on food banks after her father's job loss, and she recognized the spark of empathy in her son's eyes. It reminded her of the strangers who had once left anonymous groceries on their porch, small acts that restored faith during dark times. David, ever the practical one, furrowed his brow. "Son, that's a big ask. The shelter houses over 20 kids right now, from toddlers to teens. We'd need to think about how to make it work without stretching our budget too thin." The auto shop had been slow lately, with fewer customers due to the economic dip in town, and medical bills from Maya's recent asthma flare-up lingered like unwelcome guests. Ethan felt a twinge of doubt, but he pushed it aside. "I've been saving my allowance," he said, "almost $50, and maybe we could ask friends or neighbors to help. It's not about fancy stuff, just toys, books, things to make them smile." The conversation stretched into the afternoon, evolving from hesitation to tentative planning. Lisa called the shelter's director, Mrs. Ramirez, a warm-hearted woman with a voice like honey, who shared stories of the children there, little ones separated from parents due to job loss or illness, older kids carrying the weight of uncertainty on young shoulders. As word spread through Ethan's school and neighborhood, challenges emerged like storm clouds on the horizon. His best friend, Tyler, laughed it off at recess. "Dude, you're turning 10? You should be getting epic gifts, not giving them away. What if no one helps?" Ethan shrugged, but the words stung, planting seeds of insecurity. Was he being naive? At home, an unexpected twist hit hard. Maya's asthma acted up again, requiring an emergency room visit that drained the family's emergency fund. David came home exhausted that night, lines of worry creasing his forehead. We might have to scale back, kiddo. The shelter idea is great, but family comes first. Ethan's heart sank, tears pricking his eyes as he lay in bed. The ache from that morning returned, sharper now, mingled with guilt. Had his wish been selfish in disguise, pulling resources from those he loved most? But compassion has a way of weaving through cracks, and the next day brought the first glimmers of unexpected kindness. Mrs. Thompson, their elderly neighbor who baked cookies for every occasion, knocked on the door with a basket in hand. "I heard about Ethan's birthday plan from your mom at the grocery store," she said, her eyes twinkling. "Back in my day, we didn't have much, but sharing what we had kept us going. Here's $20, and I'll spread the word at bingo night." Ethan watched in awe as the gesture snowballed. Tyler, feeling a pang of regret after seeing Ethan's disappointment, rallied their classmates. They organized a lemonade stand after school, signs reading "Help Make Birthdays Bright for Shelter Kids" flapping in the breeze. Even the school principal, Mr. Jenkins, got involved, announcing a toy drive during morning assembly. Donations trickled in: stuffed animals from the kindergarten class, puzzles from the library club, books with dog-eared pages but stories full of adventure. Yet the emotional depths ran deeper still. Through Mrs. Ramirez, Ethan learned about Jamal, the boy from the shelter whose eyes had haunted him. Jamal was 9. His family displaced after a factory closure left his dad unemployed. He loved drawing but had no paper or crayons, spending days sketching in the dirt with sticks. Ethan's chest tightened at the thought. How similar they were, both dreaming of worlds beyond their own. Inspired, he used part of his allowance to buy art supplies, wrapping them carefully. But doubt crept back when a heavy rainstorm flooded the lemonade stand, soaking the kids and washing away half their earnings. Tyler wiped water from his face, grinning despite the setback. "See, this is why video games are better. They don't get ruined by weather." Ethan laughed, but inside he wrestled with fear. What if it all fell apart? The turning point came unexpectedly, like sunlight piercing clouds. David, inspired by his son's persistence, shared the story at the auto shop. His boss, Mr. Patel, a quiet man who rarely spoke of his past, pulled him aside. "My family came to America with nothing," he confided. "Kindness from strangers built our life here. Let me match whatever you've raised." The donation was generous, enough to buy gifts for every child at the shelter. Lisa, moved by the ripple effect, involved her hospital colleagues, who contributed hygiene kits and warm clothes. Mia, in her innocent way, drew pictures for each gift, her crayons flying across paper with messages like "You are special" and "Happy Day." Ethan's heart swelled with a mix of gratitude and humility, realizing that his small wish had awakened something larger. A community bound by threads of compassion, each act reinforcing the next. On the day of delivery, a crisp autumn afternoon with leaves crunching underfoot, the Harpers loaded their minivan with boxes overflowing with treasures, dolls with braided hair, action figures poised for adventure, board games promising laughter, and Jamal's art set tucked on top. At the shelter, a simple brick building tucked behind Main Street, Mrs. Ramirez greeted them with open arms. The children gathered in the common room, their faces a mosaic of curiosity and caution. Ethan handed out the gifts one by one, watching eyes widen and smiles bloom. A little girl clutched a teddy bear to her chest, whispering thanks as if afraid it might vanish. An older teen flipped through a novel, his tough exterior softening. And then Jamal. When Ethan placed the art supplies in his hands, the boy's face lit up like a firework. "This is for me." "Really?" Ethan nodded, fighting back tears. "Happy birthday," or just "Happy Day." They sat together for a moment, drawing side by side, lines on paper bridging worlds that once seemed so far apart. As the sun dipped low, casting golden hues through the windows, Ethan felt the ache from his birthday morning transform into a profound fullness. It wasn't about the gifts given, but the connections forged, the way Mia giggled with a group of kids, how David shared stories with the parents, how Lisa's eyes shone with pride. Challenges had tested them, twists had deepened their resolve, and kindness had prevailed, unexpected and pure. Back home that evening, as the family shared pizza and recounted the day's joys, Ethan knew his wish had come true in ways he never imagined. It wasn't just the shelter kids who received gifts. His own heart had been wrapped in the warmth of giving. In a world that can feel cold and hurried, stories like Ethan's remind us that kindness is a spark anyone can ignite, spreading light to the darkest corners. If this tale touched your heart, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button for more pure kindness stories, and share it with someone who needs a reminder of hope today. Together, we can make every day a little brighter.